MC Joby on the mic. Welcome to the Job
And Ruben
Show.
Today we'll be talking about the recent Apple event. So buckle in and we shall dive into the event. So first on our list is the Apple Watch, the Series 8. So what do you think about that?
Well. I can proudly say that I have never owned a smartwatch in my life. So my thoughts on this might be a bit brief. Based on what I've seen, though, it looks good. I don't want to say I've fallen for the buzzwords, but just based on what Apple have said, it does look pretty fancy. I don't know. You're more of an Apple guy. Would you consider getting one?
I would, but considering the price,
Oh,
no.
We're talking about the Ultra here.
The Ultra not right at the moment. But
What about the SE? The SE actually £200 for what you
£250
for what you get? It seems reasonable.
And it's a clean design. But
Yeah,
the
that's fair.
Series 8, it has pretty much the same design as the 7, but with a few extra functions. Would you be more inclined to go with the 8?
The problem is, I feel like the kind of people who Apple Watches are aimed at, you have to be pretty deep in the Apple ecosystem already to consider getting one.
Yeah.
It's a bit more than a fitness device. Like, old Apple Watches were just like, oh, I monitor my heart rate. Oh, I monitor my breathing. That kind of stuff. But
Now we've got some new interesting
now
features.
you can pay with them. It's ridiculous. I mean, yeah.
The new sensors they're adding is the temperature sensor, so it will track the outside temperature and compare it to your temperature, which apparently can help with cycle tracking and ovulation, which we're not going to speak much about.
Yeah, not really too qualified about that. Although I
think it'll be very useful though.
So it's the kind of thing where you don't realise how much you want it until you actually get it.
Yeah.
Like with sleeping, apparently for sleeping the optimal temperature is 19 degrees. And it's all convenient. You're just like, oh, it's 19 degrees in my room, that kind of stuff,
Yeah, that's probably really handy. The next big thing I think I've highlighted is the crash sensor.
Yeah.
That's
I'm not too sure about this, I'll be honest. I mean, as you say, most cars already have it.
They do already have it, but to have it on your wrist is another thing. So if you do crash, it's on your wrist and they will call the ambulance.
Same time though, don't you think something as small as what they're actually putting in the Apple Watch, I know this is Apple, so they probably retested it millions of times to make sure it's the good as it can be, but is it really going to be as effective as what they have in cars?
Well, it probably won't, but actually it's just another feature they can have, which is it's not going to be game changing, but actually for those few people, it might make them a bit more safer, and actually it probably does help a little bit, and it's just the extra layer.
I'd say I wouldn't buy an Apple Watch specifically for that.
But it's a handy function to have.
Yeah.
But what shocked me is because my watch can last maybe a week, 2 weeks without charging. My Garmin one, which is it's more than 5 years old.
How expensive was yours? Just out of interest.
I can't remember. It was my parents' old one. So.
Oh yeah.
And it does running and cycling, and it's great. I can tell the time. It's Garmin. It's Forerunner. Check which one it is now. Hashtag taking my watch off. It is the.
Technical difficulties. Please stand by.
Come on. It is the Forerunner. I can tell you that much. It's the
235 or is
Forerunner 235. Forerunner 235, which is don't know how much it is worth now, but it's quite nice. Then we have.
I do like the buttons. This is one thing. You more of a touchscreen guy or a buttons guy? This is a broad field.
I like the combination between the two. But going back onto battery life, this only has 36 hours battery life.
The Garmin?
No, the new Apple Watch.
Well, you have to take into account, is it OLED screen?
Not sure.
Probably. This is Apple we're talking about. It probably is OLED screen. And, depends. I think companies, just kind of in general, put too much pressure on, making bigger batteries, when instead they should be, optimizing the batteries better. For example, shameless plug, not sponsored by Google, by the way. My Google phone, the Pixel 5a, if you're wondering, it has a feature where you can. Its camera also like detects what brightness it is, and it'll turn your screen sensitivity off, and that saves so much battery, like without even realizing that it's doing it.
Yeah.
So really, I feel like they need to stop bumping up the battery and saying, oh, 15 hours battery, 15 more hours battery, 50 times the battery, and instead just optimize what you have already, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I know, we're not Apple engineers,
No.
but just a
And
thought.
probably 36 hours battery is more than the previous ones, and it's probably good, but it does mean you're charging it a lot.
Yeah.
The SE, which is a cheaper version, coming at £249 just for you. £249, you can buy it.
Not too bad.
Not too bad. Not like you could probably buy like an Xbox or.
And really, who is buying the competition? Like, who in 2022 is buying a Samsung watch? They're just not quite there. Apple's really got their foot in the door here. So yeah.
And their SE, it seems to be good. The crash detection is the same. But other than that, it's just the budget version of the Series 8.
Yes.
Then we move on to
the Ultra.
The Ultra.
We, by the sounds of it, both have some opinions on this thing. I'll let you go first.
Well, guess how much it is. Just to kick it off with the price being £799.
More than about as much as my sister's PC, which keep in mind, it's got a 1660 Ti in it.
Well, I definitely paid less for my phone. And that is coming at some of the lower end phones. So it's a lot of money, but it's their new high end.
What do you get?
So you get the new titanium build. It's basically a really buff, bulky, indestructible.
That was interesting.
Indestructible watch. That for the extremists, not extremists, the people.
Extremists. It sound like terrorists are buying this watch.
The people who do extreme sports and extreme activities like mountain climbing and all that is probably a really good option.
Obviously, from a position where we're in, you're into your sports, I'm into my sports, but we're not really. It's not really targeted at us, so
no, it's
just keep that in mind.
You can dive. It's one of Apple's first diving watches, so you can set your diving and it will track all your diving stuff, and that can go down to 40 meters, which is a fair depth.
Definitely, we did do some background research on this.
Watching the Apple event beforehand.
Apparently, yeah. And compared to the competition, Samsung, they explicitly say, okay, no diving. It's not made for diving.
Yeah.
Wouldn't do that, bud.
Yeah.
We don't know about the Google Bang. Do they call it the Bangle? They have some dumb name for it.
But we did Google it, and it was like what's it called? The Watch 5 something. What do they call it? The the Watch 5 Pro, is it? Is it Watch 5 Pro?
Yes, yeah.
That's it, the Samsung one. It literally says in small print, not suitable for diving. But we compared it to the other diving watches, which was the Garmin's diving watch, and that came in at a whopping £1,000. So, actually, it's fairly good.
Apple's doing what Apple does best, which is it's taking already established ideas, simplifying them,
and cramming them into one.
I wouldn't say watering it down, more like just making them more attractive to more people.
Yeah.
Which is,
But Garmin's can go down to 50 metres compared to Apple's suggested 40. But it does say that it can reach 100 metres in depth.
But we have to take into account that this is Apple.
But this is their...
These are Apple
statistics. This is their advice, don't go below this, otherwise it's probably water resistant up to that. But they only suggest you go 40 metres underwater, but actually still, that is amazing.
100 metres. I mean, if you're diving at 100 metres, then...
It's also got a larger screen.
Larger screen
is interesting.
might compromise on the battery life, though. Because the battery, it's bigger, but that's
The
more.
battery
That's going
life,
to be
having a
going
battery
towards
life
the
of
biggest screen.
60 hours. I think that's 60 hours with the low battery mode, but 60 hours is a long time, so it's definitely good. So
Yeah. One thing that this weirdly reminded me of was I don't know if you know. I don't know how into your like old Macs you are, but Apple building out of titanium. The weird thing that this reminded me of, in case you don't know, our old iMacs when they not iMacs sorry MacBooks. Back when they were called PowerBooks, so a very long time ago, they actually planned to build them out of titanium. And they actually came out with some models. I don't know the exact ones, but they called them like they had the aluminium PowerBooks, and then they had the titanium PowerBook G4s. But there's a reason why MacBooks nowadays aren't titanium, which is because titanium is a very difficult metal to build with. And you think titanium, oh, it's strong, it's big, I can smash it and it's going to be fine. But it's actually a lot softer, at least in daily use. I don't really know what you'd say. So I'd be interested to see whether or not it actually holds up after all this intense use.
So my favourite function is probably the programmable button. I mean, I'm liking that, so you can click it and it will do whatever you like it to do. It's pretty funky. And
What would you say it as if you had this watch, which already?
honestly, I'd probably set it to an automatic, like start my run or start my workout or something, or maybe like a timer. Start my 10-minute timer, go. Which means if you're on track, you don't have to get your phone out to pull up your timer. It'll just go 10-minute timer or click, gone, and then you just click your button and you forget about it.
Yeah.
It has a compass in it. That's fairly cool.
That is pretty cool.
So, yeah, which way am I going? North, south. Not much need to be said about that.
Mm-hmm.
Then night mode.
It's
makes
pretty
it go
It's pretty
red. It just makes it look
it's-
so much cooler.
It's pretty cool.
I
don't know.
I would have it on night mode all the time.
I don't know if it would actually help. How is it meant to help with night
I
though?
don't know.
It's just red.
It turns it red, and that is
What can we
funky.
say? It turns it red. Podcast over. That's it. That's all you need.
And it also has the dual frequency GPS, making it slightly better. It has the 1.5 and the 5, I think. Don't quote me on that. And I think that is everything covered.
A lot
by
of
the
watch stuff. A lot of hardware stuff, to be honest.
Yeah,
it's
the
a bit
watch
of a
stuff
hardware
the watch stuff is nice.
compared to. Oh, I don't know if the mic is picking up me drinking water.
What a break! Do.
Woo! Compared to the what they call it, the WW Apple event thing, the big one that they do when they announced M2. That was mainly software. Now you're seeing them kind of introduce what's actually going to be running on said software.
But the Apple Watch
Also-
does seem to have some major upgrades. Classic Apple of just kind of making everything slightly better and adding some interesting features. But other than that, it's good. And we have just had a notification come through on the Mac saying that our podcast, our trailer, has just been approved
Yes,
by Spotify.
we are using a Mac. We're not biased.
We are definitely on Spotify now. Amazing for us.
Incredible. Watch our shows. This one won't be out by the time.
It'll already be out.
Yeah.
But you're probably listening
Alright.
there. But that is all to be
Anyway,
said about the watch, which I think it's a nice watch.
I mean, all to be said.
And the
quite a
new
bit.
watch straps, some new funky watch straps.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. Yeah.
they look cool.
Not much to say about them. They're cool. Of
Yeah.
course they are. They're Apple. They're all about the aesthetics.
Yeah, gotta love it. Okay, so we're now going to move on to the new AirPods Pro 2.
I don't really have opinions on this.
Expensive.
Nah, this is Apple we're talking about. AirPods, I'd say, are the biggest wealth flex of the Apple ecosystem, so they better
You
be
had
good.
AirPods for a while.
I did, and I hated them. So my opinions on this might be a bit biased. How much are they? Do we have that down?
No idea. Let me check this right
Background research, please stand by. Please stand by.
now. They are launching at £250. So that is
That
the
is
same with
reasonable.
the watch. Same as
That
the watch.
is
That is good. That's like what the price of
I
the
pay.
other
I think I paid
AirPods were.
£250 for my buds, the WF-1000 XM4s, but that was with warranty. Keep in mind.
Yeah, but they're Apple, so they're going to be expensive. But actually, it's
Of
the
course
same.
they are.
It's the same as the SE
Well, what do we
watch.
get? What do we get?
So what we get is we get an extra, according to Apple, an extra 2 times noise cancellation, which I don't know if you're about me, but I prioritise noise cancellation when looking,
Very
because
true.
especially being a drummer, the ability to cancel out the nasty noise from my drums is really useful, even if I just plug them in and stop the noise cancellation. Not even having any music playing, just blocking out
Well,
sound.
Apple have been known for their pretty good noise cancellation,
Yeah.
but for me,
Trains.
Bose, Sony, they really triumphed the noise cancellation.
Yeah.
What Apple really just hit the nail on the head here is their transparency mode.
Yeah. Ice cream van going past.
Great.
Yeah, but noise cancellation, I think that's great, especially if you're on the tube. Did you see the recent article about the tube being like really, really noisy?
Oh, it's terrible. I headed to
was
London
so
recently.
bad.
It's like
It's so cool, but so noisy. It's just me so
it hurt.
Okay.
What I'd actually like to see, this just came out of nowhere. Maybe some new AirPods Max, because Apple's headphones game has kind of been lacking.
Yeah.
Maybe because for a company that markets itself so much to professionals, I mean,
It is a professional.
GarageBand,
Logic Pro.
Final Cut Pro,
Logic Pro X, which is their not Logic Pro X. Just yes, Logic Pro there.
DaVinci Resolve, and their I know DaVinci Resolve runs on everything, but like specific M1 acceleration for DaVinci Resolve. I'm surprised they haven't come out with some. Okay, wired headphones obviously wouldn't do because it's Apple, but just more headphones in general.
Yeah, but they do seem to be quite popular with professionals. Moving on to battery, they've got 6 hours of
It's
battery.
bigger.
It's bigger. It's 6 hours of battery, straight, fully charged. That's great. Who needs to listen to 6 hours of music straight?
Very true. Very true.
But with the case, it's up to 30 hours of battery life, which is great.
Not bad.
It's 6 hours more than the last ones.
Without sacrificing on pocketability, Apple really do like their pocketability.
And I think that is plenty battery.
Yeah. Would you buy them though? Because obviously I'm not part of the Apple ecosystem. They're not really aimed at me. Would you buy them?
I don't know, because I like the fact that they're in the Apple ecosystem. I feel that's so funky, and I was using my friends.
Funky.
I was using my friends, and they just connected like that. They're so easy. They're so funky, and
They have tips.
They have.
That's more than can be said about the original AirPods.
Yeah, they have. It's just there, but actually, I think there are better options for the money if you're concentrating on sound quality.
Yeah.
So I don't know what I'd
And
go
also,
with,
just
ecosystem or quality. Do I?
in terms of flex value, which let's face it, that's the real reason you buy
you buy
Bluetooth headphones.
But you see,
they look exactly the same as the normal ones.
if you're buying a flex, then you just buy. It depends who you flex into. Flex into the average Joe AirPods, but actually flex into your music buddies. You want your really fancy music ones.
Very true.
Okay, next one. They now work with the Apple Watch charger, which again just helps. It helps with the ecosystem.
It should have been like that either way, but it's good they finally did it.
So they have the new H2 chip inside, which they claim gives it better sound and better processing.
You know what they're good though?
What?
Transparent AirPods. Just do it. I don't see a reason why they can't do it.
We absolutely saw transparent AirPods on
Nothing.
when we were watching the Apple event.
They did an X-ray,
and it just it looked so cool.
And I mean, transparent cases. Oh, I can see that's a bit of a reach. Even though Apple's insides very sexy, but AirPods. Why don't they just do it? It doesn't sacrifice on durability.
They have passive audio, which I guess is cool.
It's like that with a lot of features.
Yeah.
I guess it's cool.
I guess it's cool.
It's
They have a new button on the end of a sliding button, so you can like slide it up and down.
But considering how small the stalk
it
is,
is small stalk, but you can. They now have a slidey button, which
Yeah.
I guess you can turn your volume up and down. The case. That's the biggest upgrade, I feel.
Yeah.
what should have been there in the old cases is finally here with the precision finding using the same technology in an AirTag, so when you lose your case you can find it.
Yeah.
Cases are so expensive, they are absolutely a fortune, but they also now have built-in speakers, which means when you're playing the sound to find them, which we've all done,
A lot of quality of life achieved.
I find that's really, really helpful when looking for them again. And it should have just been there, but that is I'm so happy they included that now.
Yeah.
So thank you for listening to our first podcast of the ever. If you want to listen to the part 2 of this, we're going to be discussing the iPhone.
We have some thoughts.
We have some thoughts. Lots of thoughts. Little preview, the iPhone 14, the battery, the camera, the sensor, the iPhone 14 Pro with the bezels and the iconic dynamic.
We gotta save it. Let's save the juice for the next episode,
Alright,
because there is a lot.
So we'll see you there.
Watch the next episode. Consume the next episode. Do it. Bye.